We have different conceptions and different beliefs when it comes to home management, and at times you can be affected based on where you are coming from. There are some villages it's difficult for marriage to occur, whereas there are some families it's difficult for marriage to occur. It doesn't mean that your children are not beautiful. It doesn't mean that you did not train them well. There is just something that has affected their pattern as marriage are concerned. You cannot avoid where you are coming from. So the first concept when it comes to marriage and home management, you first of all have to relate it based on where you are coming from. If you reject that it cannot affect you, then you experience it in the future. Anything you suffer today, someone have suffered it before. The way people end in your family, if you are not careful, you will end the same way. If anyone is in Christ, is a new creature. It's your soul that is being worn. But for your body to be liberated, there are extra work you must do. That if those are not being done, you'll be saved spiritually, but physically you will go through torture and torment. There are some things from where you are coming from that will affect you. There are extra energy and extra force that you must apply to finally be disconnected from generational pattern. Most of the things you are doing now, you never love doing them, and most of the places some of you have found yourself now, that was not your desire when you were growing up, but you have found yourself in it, and if they ask you, you don't know how to manage. And if you check very well, there is someone in your family that went through the same thing. You might think that your problem is coming from you. No. There is what is called generational pattern that is following you up and down in whatever you do. Many of us, we engage into marriage without actually understanding what is called family pattern. So when we marry and without facing family pattern, we think that we make a wrong choice. No, you got into marriage without preparation. If you knew about it, you would have prepared yourself and be aware that this same thing might fight you or it might destroy you. That's why there's high rate of divorce. If you study the word they shared together before they got married, they were just sweet words. I will love you forever, for better or for worse. But you did not know that the word that you were talking about is something you don't understand. We are so blinded by excitement. We are so blinded by competition. There are people who got married out of competition because they saw their friend getting married, so they also want to get married. Because they saw their dear ones getting married, they also wanted to get married. That's why when you talk about marriage, people go on social media to look at other marriages so that they will be able to compete with that party. It's not a bed of roses. It's a war of its own, and a school that you have no teacher. You teach yourself, learn by yourself, set your exam by yourself, mark your exam by yourself. It is difficult to have someone to teach you, because what your father taught you, when you are there you see something different. What your mother taught you, when you are there you see something different. You see what you did not expect. You find yourself in a position you don't know how to change it. You find yourself tolerating things that you do not tolerate. You find yourself making decisions and you are scared of what people will say, because you are full and sure that the time you make a wrong decision, there are 10,000 people out there that are ready to laugh at you. Because when you are getting married, there are people who stand for and there are people who stand against. Why? If you ask them why, they will never tell you. But those who stand against, they are waiting for the day that you will learn from what they said, and they will say, we told you. There are people who are waiting for you to fail, and there are people who are waiting for you to succeed. So that mentality is what our parents never told us. So if marriage was that sweet, God will not promise us favor. Added to it, he said, he that find a wife, find a good thing, and I will add favor, because he knows that it's already a war of his own. If marriage was already favor, then there's no need for favor to be added. When you're having problem in your home, you are not able to have problem. You are just married for 1 year having problem. There are people who have been married for 50 years, they are still thinking of how to separate. There are people who are married for 8 years, they are thinking of how to separate. So what is that thing that is causing separation in the marriage? Is what our parents never told us. Because if marriage was all that good, there's no need for God to add us favor. You cannot measure marriage by a level of righteousness. Their brother, marriage is far beyond righteousness. By the time you are married to that brother, you will discover that that brother did not even know God. I have seen people who you ask, what kind of man do you want to marry? He said, a prayer warrior. Prayer does not change the pattern of marriage. It doesn't matter how you pray. you should understand that no woman on earth, no man on earth loves to get married and divorce. But at times there is something that will cause it by all costs. And if you don't know how to deal with that thing, it will even destroy you. We talk about marriage. Marriage comes by men loving their wife and women submitting. If a woman will submit and the man love the wife, they can never pray for your own to separate, because they understand their place. What is submission? The ability to keep the way you're right. You know this man is a bad man, but the Bible says humble yourself. You know what you are doing is right, and God said be quiet. And he go out to a man, he said love your wife as Christ loved the church and died for the church. It's not about Christ love the church. What is important in that verse is the word die. Stay in marriage is not because of the righteousness of the man. Stay in marriage is not because of the righteousness of a woman. It's because of the will of God that must be done. Marriage is something ordained by God. It's God's plan. Marriage was never the plan of Adam. Marriage has never been the plan of a man. It is God's will and what God wants. So that's why if you don't fear God, it is difficult for you to maintain a marriage. What keeps marriage women is God. It's not action, it's not word. So any marriage that is taken away from God can never last. Any marriage that is taken away from God can never last. Don't look at the marriage of your uncle that is a pagan. If you look at it, you discover what? There are many marriages today that are contra marriages. What do I mean? Wife, do what you want. Husband, do what you want. They will meet in the house. There's no level of anointing that can make you fix your hope. For those who are praying for their husband to change, and those who are praying for their wife to change, my dear, change your prayer point and start praying for God to bless you. Because there are some changes that will never occur in a marriage if God is not involved. And God does not come when you are married. He needs to be there before you married. God was there before Eve came. Eve did not come before God came. That's why before you married, you have to make sure the woman is grounded in the things of God, not just coming to church. Because even the devil come to church. Majority of homes have been destroyed because of marriages. There's no success you can have if your home is not well fixed. There are certain things that can never happen in your home if your home is not fixed. I have seen men who have died because of marriages. A lot of men, when you are just in courtship, there's a way you laugh, and now in marriage you don't laugh again like that. When you go in courtship, there's a way you dress, and now you don't dress again like that. When you are married, you don't know how to go to a salon with her. So when you change your pattern, expect also a change result. Marriages are not supposed to separate, because marriage is a God-ordained thing. A man was being made while a woman was being removed from a man. One of the problems we have as men, we feel like the way we think our women should think the same way. We don't know that the Bible said they are weaker vessels. Weaker is not in the sense that they are very weak for you to control. Weaker vessels mean that what you don't make them to conceive, they will conceive something else. They are very easy in conceiving. Never you marry a man hoping that the man will have job in the future. If the man is jobless now, even in the marriage, he will end up to be jobless. No lazy man at the beginning, of course, he will be a hardworking man in marriage. So if you know you cannot stand the pressure of another beautiful girl around your man, make sure you get married to a man who have nothing to do with business that concern women. There are things you should accept before you accept the man. But some of us will rush and accept the man before accept what the man is doing. You can never accept a man and reject his occupation that he had before you were coming. One of the things you study about the man is the kind of family he's coming from. A man who cherishes his sisters more than his wife is a deadly man. If you understand that in marriage, there are things you must disconnect from. If you are a man, you not spending money anyhow. No, when you are married, the rate of expenditure have to reduce, because there's a family that must be taken care of. There are some friends and some besties that must live your life. There's something also you change from. Character. You lock yourself in the room 24/7. You always look for a place alone to be. You are a bad wife, because the Bible says it is not good for man to be alone. You came so that a man should not be alone. Man was not made to be alone. That's why God said it is not good. What it is not good mean that it is bad for a man to be alone. And when the Bible says it is bad, because whenever a man is alone, he thinks of someone to be close to. There are a lot of men in the mortuary, and there are a lot of women who have committed suicide because of wanting to call marriage. Many people are in marriages right now because they follow the shape of the woman and enter. Now they have discovered what they could not see, because character is hidden inside. It's not what is being expressed outside. In marriage, you don't go after beauty. Only men who do not understand destiny go after beauty.